There is no glass ceiling, okay? I want to be very clear about that. Women never make as much as men do. Hold on. I mean, there's this outrage, but it's this faux outrage. All these women that are up in arms about it, how many WNBA games do you watch? What's your favorite team? Caitlin Clark was drafted first overall in the WNBA draft. She signs a 4-year, $338,000 contract. Internet started going nuts. Gerard Basala, he tweeted out and said, "I am flabbergasted by the number $76,535 for the number one overall pick in a major sports league." They also show Victor Wembanyama, who signed a 4-year deal worth $55.1 million. And this comes up periodically, and I understand why this comes up. When you see somebody like Caitlin Clark, really, she was responsible for some of the biggest numbers in college basketball, men's or women's, this year. And she was really responsible for some of the biggest numbers in sports. And this is what is sparking the outrage. 12.3 million viewers last night for the Iowa LSU game. More viewers than any women's college basketball game ever. More viewers than the 2023 NBA Finals, more viewers than the 2023 World Series, more viewers than the 2023 Orange Bowl, the 2023 Big Ten Championship, the Cotton Bowl, the Pac-12 Championship, the Big 12 Championship, the ACC Championship game, the Peach Bowl, Thursday Night Football, every 2023 college football regular season game except Ohio State, Michigan. When you see that and then you see this, the average sports fan goes, why is she only making $76,000? Here's the problem. The sport that she plays does not generate the kind of revenue to be able to provide her with the value that she's worth. This is why Ice Cube was like, come play with the big three. I'll give you $5 million. And some people were like, that's disrespectful. If Ice Cube really wanted to help, he wouldn't be trying to take her away from the WNBA, where she could be bringing more eyes and more attention on the game and helping grow the sport in the WNBA. Okay, well then why are you bitching about the salary? Because in order to get the salaries up, you're going to have the superstars that come along to get the eyeballs, to get the salaries up. It's got to be this way. But if the league and the teams don't have the money because it doesn't exist, they can't pay her that. So don't be mad at the NBA and at men's salaries because, one, the league has been around and it just prints money. That's not the reason for disparity. There is no glass ceiling, okay? I want to be very clear about that because that's what happens. There's a glass ceiling in sports and it's just not equal. Women never make as much as men do. Hold on. The reason these guys make as much as they make is because they generate what they make. The TV deals generate that revenue, the sponsors, the ticket sales, the eyeballs from the viewers generate all of that. The butts and seats. It's not like there's nobody watching and they're still paying Wembanyama $55 million. So it's, if you want the WNBA players to get paid $55 million because they're the number one draft pick, well, then you need to get the same numbers, but it's going to take time. Like, the fact that this was the most watched WNBA draft ever, and it was a 300% increase, tells you that up until Caitlin Clark arrived on the scene, I won't say nobody gave a shit, but it wasn't mainstream. Very few people other than some of the diehards were watching. And this is why salaries have been so depressed. But when you get 2.4 million people watching a draft, all of a sudden, advertisers go, take our money. And when she starts playing, advertisers are going to flock to the games. And guess what happens when advertisers flock to the games? Revenue goes up. And guess what happens when revenue goes up? Salaries go up. But that doesn't happen until she gets here. Up until this point, this hasn't happened. But you can't give her a contract based on ifs and the future. But in 4 years, it's going to be a lot more than 4 years, $338,000. Is she going to make $55 million in 4 years like Victor Wembanyama? No, because the WNBA is so far behind the NBA. They've got so much catching up to do. Could it one day? If you can pull in the same same kind of numbers that the NBA gets, then there's no reason the salaries can't be the same. I think that the inclination is just to go glass ceiling. It's not fair. Men make more than women. Once again, women are getting screwed. But when you see this, you kind of understand, oh, well, this is why she got a 4-year, $336,000 deal, and Victor Wembanyama got a 4-year, $55 million deal. NBA revenue, $10 billion. The WNBA made $60 million. So that right there just tells you the gap is so wide and vast. $94 for an NBA game, $47 for a WNBA game. Average attendance of a game, 17,000 versus 5,600. Ratings. 2022 NBA Finals had a 7.6 rating, reaching 12.4 million. Highest viewed game was the Aces versus Storm, which averaged 852,000 viewers, which peaked at 1.1 million. Again, I totally get it. And I'm rooting for them to get these numbers up. I want these women to be able to make millions of dollars. I do. All these women that are up in arms about it, how many WNBA games do you watch? What's your favorite team? I mean, there's this outrage, but it's this faux outrage. There's the outrage of, I want to be mad because I feel like women aren't getting treated fairly, and I get that, but it's not a fair outrage because you don't even support the goddamn sport yourself. All these women that are getting angry as shit over Caitlin Clark making $336,000 over the next 4 years. How many WNBA games did you watch? Have you watched? You might watch some going forward, but how many games have you watched over the last 5 years? Because if your answer is 0, you're part of the problem. My hope is Caitlin Clark is the catalyst for a huge uptick in eyeballs on the WNBA, and most importantly, salary increases on the WNBA. And so maybe this is the beginning of that change. I certainly hope so.